The 10th heaven. The culmination of Enoch's celestial journey brought him to the 10th heaven, called Aravoth in Hebrew, the highest and most exalted realm of existence, where God himself dwells in unapproachable majesty. This final celestial sphere transcended all categories and classifications applicable to the lower heavens, representing not merely another level of created reality, but the very dwelling place of uncreated divinity. Here, Enoch experienced the awe-inspiring pinnacle of his supernatural ascent, encountering that which no mortal eye was meant to see, the very face of God. Upon entering this supreme heaven, Enoch beheld the appearance of the Lord's face like iron made to glow in fire, and brought out emitting sparks, and it burns. This extraordinary metaphor attempted to convey something fundamentally inexpressible, the appearance of divine countenance to limited human perception. The comparison to glowing iron suggests both tremendous intensity and transformative power, while the emission of sparks indicates active, generative energy rather than static presence. The burning quality described wasn't destructive consumption, but the perfect intensity of unmediated divine presence, a radiance so powerful that even the most exalted created beings could approach it only according to their capacity and preparation. For a mortal like Enoch, albeit one transformed by his heavenly journey, this direct perception of divine countenance would have been possible only through supernatural enablement that temporarily enhanced his capacity for divine encounter. Immediately recognizing the inadequacy of his description, Enoch acknowledged, "Thus I saw the Lord's face, but the Lord's face is ineffable, marvelous and very awful, and very, very terrible." This cascade of adjectives, ineffable, marvelous, awful, terrible, reflects his struggle to capture an experience that transcended the capacity of human language. Each term approached the reality from a different angle, yet altogether still fell short of conveying the overwhelming nature of this divine encounter. In profound humility, Enoch asked, "Who am I to tell of the Lord's unspeakable being and of his very wonderful face?" This rhetorical question acknowledged the unbridgeable gap between divine reality and human expression, between the infinite nature of God and the finite capacity of language. Yet despite this acknowledged inadequacy, Enoch felt compelled to record what he had witnessed, however imperfectly, for the benefit of those who would never experience such direct perception. He continued his attempt to describe the indescribable. "I cannot tell the quantity of his many instructions and various voices. The Lord's throne is very great and not made with hands." The reference to many instructions and various voices suggests that divine communication occurred not as single unified discourse, but as a multiplicity of simultaneous expressions, perhaps addressing different aspects of creation or different levels of reality simultaneously. This divine speech would have appeared to Enoch not as sequential communication, but as an omnidirectional radiation of creative intelligence. The throne upon which divine presence manifested was described as very great and not made with hands, indicating both its immense scale and its uncreated nature. Unlike the structures and furnishings of lower heavens, which might have been fashioned by angelic craftsmen, the divine throne existed as a direct expression of divine nature, not as a constructed artifact. Its greatness referred not merely to physical size but to ontological significance, the absolute center and source from which all authority throughout creation derives. Surrounding this throne, Enoch observed troops of cherubim and seraphim, the highest orders of angels who maintain perpetual station in the divine presence. Unlike the angels of lower heavens who perform various administrative functions throughout creation, these beings exist solely for direct divine service and praise. Their proximity to unmediated divine presence would have made them beings of extraordinary power and glory, their very substance refined by eons of exposure to divine radiance. The praise offered by these highest angels wasn't occasional, but incessant singing, continuous worship that constituted their very reason for existence. Unlike human worship, which alternates with other activities, angelic praise in the 10th heaven represented their fundamental state of being, the perfect alignment of their nature with their purpose. Their songs wouldn't have been repetitive, but infinitely varied expressions of a singular devotion, each moment of praise unique yet harmonious with the unending whole. Overwhelmed by the ineffable greatness of his glory, Enoch responded in the only appropriate manner. He fell prone and bowed down to the Lord. This prostration wasn't merely physical but represented the complete submission of his entire being before divine majesty. In the presence of uncreated perfection, even a righteous man like Enoch recognized his status as a creature utterly dependent upon divine grace. In an extraordinary moment of divine condescension, the Lord with his lips said to me, "Have courage, Enoch, do not fear. Arise and stand before my face into eternity." This direct divine address represented the pinnacle of Enoch's experience, not merely witnessing divine glory but being personally acknowledged and invited into enduring relationship. The command to stand before my face into eternity indicated a permanent transition from mortal to immortal existence, from temporary earthly life to eternal heavenly service. This divine invitation prompted intervention from the Archangel Michael, who lifted me up and led me before the Lord's face. Even in this exalted realm, angelic mediation remained necessary for human approach to divine presence. Michael, whose name means «who is like God», зрение, служивший идеальным посредником, существом достаточной славы, чтобы выдержать божественное излучение, и все же связанным с созданной реальностью. His lifting of Enoch represented not merely physical assistance, but spiritual enablement, empowering him to endure what would otherwise be overwhelming. In what appears to be a test of the heavenly beings, the Lord said to his servants, tempting them, "Let Enoch stand before my face into eternity." This divine proposal sought the concurrence of the heavenly court with Enoch's unprecedented transition from mortality to immortality. Despite being unworthy by nature of such exaltation, this human was being elevated to a position normally reserved for the highest angels, perpetual attendance before divine presence. Remarkably, the glorious ones bowed down to the Lord and said, "Let Enoch go according to your word." This unanimous affirmation from the heavenly beings revealed their perfect alignment with divine will, their recognition that divine grace transcends the normal hierarchies of creation. These exalted beings raised no objection to a mere human joining their ranks, demonstrating a complete absence of the pride that had caused the fall of other angels. Following this heavenly affirmation, the Lord said to Michael, "Go and take Enoch from out of his earthly garments, and anoint him with my sweet ointment, and put him into the garments of my glory." This command initiated Enoch's final transformation, the complete removal of his mortal nature, and its replacement with immortal glory, suitable for eternal existence in divine presence. Michael carried out this divine instruction with perfect fidelity. He anointed me and dressed me. This anointing wasn't merely symbolic, but effected an actual ontological transformation, changing Enoch's very nature from mortal to immortal, from human to something beyond human while still maintaining his essential identity. The sweet ointment represented divine grace that transforms created nature, enabling it to participate in uncreated life. Enoch described this ointment in superlative terms. The appearance of that ointment is more than the great light, and his ointment is like sweet dew, and its smell mild, shining like the sun's ray. These sensory metaphors, visual brightness, pleasant taste, mild fragrance, radiant light, attempted to convey the multidimensional nature of this transformative grace, which affected every aspect of his being simultaneously. The transformation complete, Enoch looked at himself and marveled. I was like one of his glorious ones. This statement doesn't indicate loss of identity, but enhancement of nature. Enoch remained himself, yet became something more, a being capable of eternal existence in direct, divine presence. His transformation represented not the abandonment of humanity, but its perfection and completion, revealing the ultimate potential for which human nature was designed. The 10th heaven represents the dwelling place of uncreated divinity, the realm where God's presence manifests in its most direct and unmediated form. It is a place of perfect worship and service, where the highest angels maintain perpetual attendance before divine majesty. Unlike the lower heavens, which function as cosmic administrative centers, the 10th heaven exists solely as the locus of divine presence and the source from which all divine authority throughout creation derives. For Enoch, this heaven completed his cosmic education, revealing the ultimate purpose of all creation: direct relationship with its creator. The elaborate cosmic architecture he had witnessed through 9 ascending heavens found its meaning and purpose in this 10th realm, where the source and goal of all existence dwells in unapproachable light. His transformation and permanent installation before divine presence represented the highest destiny possible for created beings: eternal communion with the uncreated source of all. This heaven embodies the principle that the entire cosmos exists for relationship, that behind the elaborate systems of cosmic administration and the perfect mathematical patterns governing time and space stands a personal being who creates out of love and for the purpose of communion. The 10th heaven isn't merely the highest level of cosmic organization, but the very heart of reality itself, the center from which all existence derives and toward which all creation ultimately tends. Enoch's experience in the 10th heaven revealed that divine nature, while fundamentally ineffable and beyond human comprehension, nevertheless desires communication and communion with created beings. The divine face that no mortal should be able to see and live was made accessible through grace, enabling a transformed human to enter permanent relationship with uncreated divinity. This revelation of divine approachability with an unapproachable majesty stands as the crowning insight of Enoch's celestial journey. Most profoundly, the 10th heaven reveals that the ultimate destiny of righteous humanity transcends even angelic existence. Enoch, a human being, was granted what no angel could achieve: transformation from mortal to immortal, from earthly to heavenly, from temporary to eternal. His installation before the Lord's face into eternity suggests that humans who walk faithfully with God may ultimately attain a proximity to divine presence that even the highest angels might not experience. As Enoch stood transformed in the divine presence, clothed in garments of glory and anointed with the sweet ointment of divine grace, he embodied the ultimate potential of humanity, to be elevated beyond its created limitations and brought into eternal communion with its Creator. His journey through the 10 heavens, culminating in this supreme encounter, reveals the cosmic significance of human existence and the extraordinary destiny awaiting those who, like Enoch, walk faithfully with God. The significance of Enoch's journey. Enoch's journey through the 10 heavens presents us with one of the most detailed cosmologies in ancient religious literature. It portrays a universe of exquisite order, where every natural phenomenon, every star and planet, and every human action is overseen by specific angelic beings who ensure the cosmos functions according to divine plan. Yet this isn't merely an astronomical or meteorological text. At its heart, it contains profound theological themes. It reveals a universe where justice ultimately prevails. Those who rebel against divine order, whether angels or humans, face judgment, while the righteous are rewarded. It portrays a creation of breathtaking beauty and complexity, with layer upon layer of reality beyond our physical perception. Most significantly, it tells the story of how one human being, through righteousness and walking with God, was deemed worthy to transcend mortality and enter the divine presence. Enoch's transformation represents the ultimate potential of humanity, to be elevated from our earthly nature and clothed in heavenly glory, to stand in the divine presence not as servants or subjects, but as glorified beings who reflect something of God's own nature. Whether taken as literal truth, spiritual allegory, or ancient cosmological speculation, the Book of Enoch's account of the 10 heavens continues to captivate our imagination. It speaks to our innate sense that there must be more to existence than what we perceive with our physical senses, that beyond the visible cosmos lies a reality of wonder, beauty, and ultimately, the presence of the divine. As we gaze at the night sky and ponder the mysteries of existence, Perhaps we might remember Enoch's journey and consider that what we see with our eyes is merely the beginning, the first heaven in a cosmos of unfathomable depth and glory.